Welcome back, everybody. Today we're here to talk about The Walking Dead, and I want to talk a little bit more about that news that we got yesterday about Rick Grimes and how the first Rick Grimes movie is aiming to start filming in spring of 2021. I want to discuss that in connection to when we could see the film, and I also want to discuss some stuff about the extra 6 episodes, and also how this all can connect to The Walking Dead's final season. So before I do get into it, though, there's a lot of stuff I'm going to be discussing, so I do want to give like a general spoiler warning in case you aren't caught up or anything like that. And then also I am going to be doing a Q&A pretty soon since the year is coming to an end. So be sure to leave any questions you may have about The Walking Dead in the community section of my channel underneath the post I made, and I'll definitely be answering them in a video coming out soon. But other than that, let's get into the video. Alright, so yeah, yesterday we learned that according to Andrew Lincoln, so you know, reliable source, Andrew Lincoln himself, who plays Rick Grimes, he said that the plan right now is that they can hopefully start filming by spring of 2021. And I made a video talking about that yesterday if you want to go check it out. But today I want to talk a little bit about what that could mean for the final season and when this could air. So in the video I mentioned how I believe the first movie, if they're gonna start filming in spring of 2021, I said I think the first movie will come out in 2022. I did see some people in the comments section say that they think the movie could air still in 2021, like later on in 2021. I saw some people say that it could air before, season 11, which definitely is possible. If you look at them filming, usually, if they film in May and they have episodes out by October, so it's definitely possible for them to do that. But this is not an episode, Scott Gimple was kind of making that clear. He was saying that this is a lot different than an episode of television, and I think it's, since they're going for that theatrical release, I think it's going to be a lot bigger than an episode of The Walking Dead. So with that being said, also they're partnering with Universal. It's going to be a pretty big movie, so I would be really shocked to see if they would have the movie done by like before October of 2021. That would be really shocking, because that would mean they would have to start filming in spring, and then they would have to do all the post-production stuff, the marketing stuff, all before October, which just kind of seems like, unlikely to me. They could air it at the end of 2021, so I'm not saying like, us seeing it in 2021 is impossible. I'm not saying that by any means, because The Walking Dead usually ends like late November, or like the first half of The Walking Dead usually ends like late November, early December. So they could definitely release it at the end of December for sure. That is possible, but we also have to think about when it would be a good time to release this movie, because they also have to fit in The World Beyond somewhere in there, season 2, because the first movie is not going to come out like before season 2 of The World Beyond, right? Because that is what The World Beyond is setting up, the movies. Like we're learning about the CRM and stuff in that show, so I don't think they would air the movie before that. But I mean, they could do the same thing where they did with Fear the Walking Dead this year, where they had Fear and The World Beyond airing back to back. They could do that at the end of 2021 and then have the movie at the end of that. But I'm thinking 2022 would be like the best time for this movie, because 2022 is when The Walking Dead is also going to be ending, late 2022. So, they could either do it between season 11B and season 11C, or they could do it like after season 11C. I did see some people mention that, this probably means that Rick isn't going to be in the final season, which is true. But, we also do have to remember that there's going to be spin-offs and stuff like that as well. So I don't think we should worry too much about, Rick not being in the final season. Like Daryl and Carol are getting, a spin-off. We have Michonne who left. So it's definitely possible for characters to still reunite with Rick, and it's definitely possible for any Walking Dead character to pop up on the movie for sure. They could do something with the second or third movie. Like imagine by the third movie, Rick comes back to Alexandria. Stuff like that could happen. So, I don't think, so because of that, I think they could definitely air it before the season 11 finale. But I feel like this is something they would air after the season 11 finale. I'm sure they would want 2022, or the majority of 2022, to be focused on the final season, right? Unless they do something at the end of season 11B, which sets up the movie, and then they would show that first movie, and then season 11C would maybe explain more stuff we see in that movie, if that makes sense. But again, we have the world beyond kind of doing that, so I don't really see the purpose in that. I think season 11C is going to be really just focusing on ending the story for the characters we have. They just can't abandon these characters and, just put all their focus on Rick, because they still have other characters whose stories they have to wrap up. And that's what I'm thinking season 11C is going to be. Again, we have Rick, we have Daryl and Carol going their own way, so and they're gonna get a spinoff. So it's definitely possible for them to see Rick in the future. But the point I want to make is that I would be kind of shocked to see if the movies end, like if the third movie ends without any reunion. That would be quite shocking. And I don't think it's a coincidence that some of the major characters are leaving, right? Like we have Michonne who left, and we had Carol and Daryl who left. And those are characters who I think everyone is sort of waiting to reunite with Rick. And I'm sure they have this planned. Characters that I am interested in seeing what's going to happen to, because this ending for the show really came out of nowhere. Because honestly, well, I don't know if I want to say that, but I mean, season 11, yeah, that was sort of shocking to me. I was expecting like a season 12 or 13 at least, but yeah, it is kind of shocking to see it end at season 11. It's not a bad thing, but another character that I'm interested in is Judith, or two characters, Judith and RJ. Like, what's gonna happen to them? There is no word about them leaving or them joining Daryl and Carol. From what we hear, it's just, or from what they've released, it's just that Carol and Daryl are just the only characters who are having a spin-off, as far as we know. Like, we don't know if other characters are gonna be joining them or what. And that's why I'm kind of thinking now it has to do with the movies. Like a lot of people are waiting for Rick to return at the end of The Walking Dead, but because it's ending with season 11 and we still have two more Walking Dead movies, or it's three more basically. We haven't even got the first one yet, but we probably will get the first one by 2022. So like after that, we're gonna have two more movies. So I think if we're gonna have any reunions or anything like that, we're gonna have to be watching out for the movies. Another character I just thought of, I didn't mention, I know Judith and RJ are important for the reunion, but also Negan. Like, what's gonna happen to Negan? So that's what I mean. Like season 11C, it could set up Rick Grimes movie stuff for sure, and maybe that has to do with Carol and Daryl. Maybe Carol and Daryl leaving has to do with Judith telling Daryl about Michonne and they want to go after her. That could definitely be it. So season 11C could play around with a lot of Rick Grimes stuff for sure, but I think the main thing season 11C is going to be doing is setting up that ending. I think season 11A and B are mainly going to focus on the Commonwealth, and then after that they're going to set up the show's end. It's still quite a ways away, The Walking Dead's ending. I'm assuming it's going to be like closer to the end of 2022. Because of that extra 8 episodes. So with that being said, like it's probably like maybe a little bit under 2 years away. So it's anything can still happen, anything can change, before they film that or anything like that. But the more I think about it with this news that the first movie is gonna film in spring of 2021. Now I'm kind of thinking that any reunions that we might see could either happen in the Rick Grimes movies. I feel like the Michonne reunion would most likely happen in a Rick Grimes movie, or it could happen with the Carol and Daryl spinoff. But the Carol and Daryl spinoff is, really far away, so we can't tell for sure. And then in terms of the extra 6 episodes, we just got some news today that apparently there's gonna be like a preview special, like right before February 21st, so like 1 week before Home Sweet Home, which is episode 17 of season 10. Comicbook.com talks more about it. I'll leave the link in the description down below. But yeah, really excited to hear about that because these extra 6 episodes look pretty good. It's really exceeding my expectations, because when they first announced it all those months ago, I didn't think it would be like the way it is now, like actually continuing the story from the season 10 finale. So it's really cool what they did. They did release a trailer a couple weeks back, which was awesome. and I'm very excited about it. I'm sure it'll be here. It may seem far away, 2 months away, but I'm sure it'll be here very quickly, and I'm excited to watch it. But yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit more about that Rick Grimes stuff because, again, I talked about this in my video yesterday. Once they start filming a show or a movie, we sort of get a general idea of when it could come out, and I'm thinking 2022. They could push for that 2021 release for sure, because if the movie isn't connected with the series finale, then it could really air anytime they want. And, them making 16 episodes of The Walking Dead a year, it could happen, but I'm kind of thinking 2022. But you guys let me know in the comments down below, what do you think? I'm going to leave it off there. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like rating for more Walking Dead videos, and just be sure to subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching, everybody. Please stay safe, and I'll see you guys soon.